If the only thing getting in the way of you starting a company right now is money, then you're doing it wrong. The $0 startup starts right now.
Hey, welcome back to the Blunt Force Business. I'm Brian LaFauci.
I'm Patrick Marino.
And today we are going to talk to them about the $0 startup. Say, what? I ain't got no money. I can't start no business.
I think most people who start businesses probably don't have money, right?
It's the truth. That's their biggest worry before they even that's the funny thing about consulting is before they even start, it's the first thing they say. They're like, I want to start a business, but I don't know where I'm going to get the funding from. Like, slow down, Charlie. We'll get there. Blunt Force fact. You want it?
I'm so ready. I'm so ready for the blunt force fact.
Do you want
Will you
it?
give me the blunt force
I'm
fact?
going to give it to you. The blunt force fact is you don't need cash. You need courage, creativity, and Canva.
What was your first business that you started?
The most expensive of all
real estate or something?
Yeah, it was real estate, right?
So you probably needed some money for that one.
Yeah, we were borrowing money like a 2-year-old eats Cheetos.
I guess the point is there's going to be different types of businesses, right?
Yeah.
So if you are, I think the point is probably just you might be surprised at what you can do without funding versus, because obviously you're not going to be able to start a real estate business without some capital. Sure. But for the most part, there's going to be a lot of different types of things you can do without. And I think a big part of it is hustle.
Although I will say,
like hustle is free.
Hustle is free. And what we're talking about today is a little bit different because you can start or really grow a real estate company with $0 of your own money. And we did that a lot. But I think the point here is more in some industries, you do need money wherever it comes from.
Especially if you need like capital. A building or something like that.
You need capital. Yeah. What we're seeing now is there is the capacity to start so many of these different like service-based companies with absolutely $0 and all the support that you normally would have to get. Like, I need a marketer. I need someone to manage my schedule. It's all free.
Right.
It's all there. We really can, if need be, if somebody has a little bit of courage and some time, right, or willing, they don't necessarily have to have quote unquote time. They need to be willing to
make time.
Yes.
Sacrifice.
Right. And we were talking about this. One of the programs we run is in the detention center. And we were talking about this last week with those individuals. We're like, listen, because we're running a business startup program with them. We're like, I don't say this lightly. I'm not trying to, make light of the situation, but you got all the fucking time in the world.
Right.
But you know what I mean? And you probably find that you're idle sometimes and bored. If you were to choose to capital, you could build this whole thing out tenfold.
Right.
With using the time that you have on your hands. It's a matter of, the discipline and the discipline to do it. So we spend a lot of time trying to teach the discipline, trying to teach okay, how do you do it? What do you got to do? And, taking away, well, I don't have this. And frequently individuals in that setting don't have capital, right? They're not earning money, right? They don't have a lot of money. So we're always working on ways to get across the finish line without that. Yeah. But it's true. I mean, it's courage and creativity are the replacements for capital. And I mean, I think what would be a really great exercise is to break down for people the ways that you can take the key components of a business startup and get to an end state with almost, what do I mean by end state? Get to a place where you could potentially launch and test the market for almost no money.
Right.
Right. So give me a business. Let's play a game. What's that movie? What's the movie where he said, let's play, War Games. Let's play a game. No.
Would you like to play a game of chess?
Would you like to play a game of business building on $0? All right, go.
everyone I thought about had some sort of capital investment, so I'm probably not. I'm not thinking straight right now.
No.
I mean, I was thinking landscaping, candy maker.
Nope,
you know what I mean?
do
Like,
landscaping because landscaping is a good one, and it's tough. And you're like, how can you get into landscaping for $0? And you're like, all right. So this would be one of the toughest ones because there you need certain things.
Just need some basic equipment.
So let's see how close to zero we could get. We could get landscaping. Let's take it from the bottom and bring it all the way to the top. And you can do this, for our listeners, do this same exercise with your business. All you need is a piece of paper and we can start and kind of go through it. So let's take the first concept of business development is idea recognition. So idea recognition is frequently the thing that can be done at no cost because we're just kicking around an idea. In landscaping, what would be some of the concepts that we would work with someone on just idea recognition? It would be who's your client base going to be, right? And we always, with idea recognition, we always focus on like, why are you getting into this? Which is very discussion based. You could just kind of start jotting those things down. Why are you getting into this? What do you want to do? And then from there, it's all right. How are you going to stand out? So you're better. We like to talk about, right? You got something new. You have something better. Or is there absolutely zero competition and you're going to go play in a space where there's, zero competition? So those are the three ways. That concept costs no money. But what if you said, well, I want advice. I want consulting. Well, what I tell people all the time is the SBA is great at that. Even with some of the budget cuts, the SBA is still there, has resource partners that provide $0 for consulting on startup ideas. So you can even get expert advice around your idea for no money, just time, right? Willing to put in the time of a couple hours and kick around there. So what's phase 2? We get past idea recognition. We've kind of mulled around idea. From there, I like to take people through the concept of problem solution. Okay? So it's piggybacking off of idea recognition and from a landscaper standpoint, what is the real problem that's making you want to move forward here, and what is your solution? So it's like it's like the deliverable of the better that you talk about in idea recognition. So what would be a problem that you think customers would have in landscaping? What are common problems?
The usual problem is time. Right? Time and property. I have property and I need to manage it and I don't have any time.
Okay. So a problem arising from the fact that because
otherwise I would just do it myself.
Yep. In normal households or dual income, normal households, if they have kids in activities. So when do you do it, right? Yeah. When do you take care of it? So there's a more of that in the world. So there's a time problem. What else might be a problem that you would kick around in the landscape industry?
I would think that just kind of wanting to not just have an ego and not want my house to look like shit.
Right. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Right?
Or just not, keeping up. Like, so in other words, like not just falling apart. Because I mean, I know like, obviously this is going to be depending on your market, but I'm thinking just like a general market, right? Most landscapers are probably dealing with these dual income people who probably aren't like super rich. I mean, you got to have a little bit of disposable income. Otherwise you can't do this. But at the same time, you are probably in a neighborhood and you've got kids and like, what happens during the spring when you need your most landscaping? Your kids you're on the baseball field all weekend, or you're on the soccer field,
right?
Or you're both, right?
Right.
Mom's with the soccer, dad's with the baseball,
right?
And and you get to this point, it's May, and your grass is up to here.
I went through
and
this
you're like,
recently.
yeah, exactly. And you're like, all right, well, what the hell are we gonna do?
I went through this 3-day period where we have a landscaper, right? And this is a problem. My landscaper doesn't fertilize, and my fertilizer guy doesn't landscape. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they're both good at what they do. And I guess I get it, right? I guess it's, both of them have a system of where they evaluated, like, this is the time, this is my model. I just go, I do this. And it seems to work because they piggyback each other. Like, they recommend each other, whatever. I'm shocked that one has not said, if I just take over the other,
seriously,
the other role, I can probably, because I'm there already, cut, be more affordable. I don't know, but they haven't.
I mean, I have multiple landscaping clients and they don't outsource anything. In fact, they're trying to do more. Yeah. Because they're like, well, why would I give away this business? I already got access to the house. Why wouldn't I also do the Christmas lighting?
Yep. No, I have two.
It's like, geez, why wouldn't I freaking do this? Like, why wouldn't I do the snow plowing?
A week, and it was like a week and a half ago.
So it's not landscaping anymore. It's property maintenance.
Property maintenance. That makes sense. Yeah, and they do landscape construction now.
Hardscaping. Everything.
Big money in hardscaping. So when you're in the startup phase, you're looking at where the gap is, really, right? So in the example I just told you, a gap might be, hey, our clients are in where I live, because a lot of people are using these same two people, right? You know how it is. Like, you refer the neighbors. Like, how did I find my guy? Well, I went to my neighbor whose grass looked really good. I'm like, who do you use? Okay.
Well, it kind of speaks to the point, right? So it's like we're gonna drill down into this at some point. But like one of the, I'm sure you heard this. You've heard this a lot with all the businesses. You work more in the startup. Well, we hear this in the call, or we hear this from people. It's like, oh, I spent all this money on Facebook advertising. Like, how many people drill back into the basics that we would talk about? Like, how do you generally find a landscaper? A lot of it's word of mouth. Yeah. It's referrals, right? Yep. So it's like, you got this, and that comes from hustling. Yes. Right. So that doesn't come from spending money on Facebook advertising. Right. Zero cost. Yep. Right. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Referral program, stuff like that.
Or you just, not even referral program, just, I go out to people's houses if I know them and I say, can I do this for you? Yes. And then you start asking,
So let's drill back to the $0 startup. So now we're looking to launch. We're limited on funds. We're able to get idea recognition, problem and solution through a little bit of research at zero cost, using things like AI and free ChatGPT to say, hey, what is the landscape and who are the landscapers in these areas? And we can do it's time, right? This is where the importance of scheduling and blocking time and saying, I'm going to take this time to kind of build this thing out, right? So we get through all that part. Now, I want to just pivot really quick because I think it's important. Some of this, what we call ideation, right? And really kind of defining the thing. In some industries, if it's a product and not a service, you need to what? You need to like produce a template, or you need to like produce the word is escaping me right now, but like an example, right? Or a mock-up of this thing. So if you said to me, hey, I want to design this new thing. Okay. Now in this first phase, we're probably messing around with design. So how do we make that happen for $0? Well, one of the things we'd recommend to our listeners is the beauty right now is 3D printing has changed the game in the ability to just get a visual representation of your thing at a very low cost. Yeah, it used to be you had to go to a manufacturer and say, I want it now. How do you get that for free? Well, you go to your local technical institute or schools and you give the tech guy the project. Like, hey, I'm working on a project. Can we work with your students? And all of them are like, yep, because they're always looking for real life things to do. So even if you came back and said to me, all right, that's all great for a service, but in an industry where you need something, the ability now to get that almost guaranteed, at least a mock-up of it started, is there, right? And at no cost to you if you use the resources available. Technical schools are great. 3D printing is a phenomenal thing. So let's pivot back. Because I knew someone was going to be like, yeah, well, that's all well and good unless you got to create something.
Well, I mean, we still haven't gotten to the core problem of the landscaper yet.
Right. So we take the point being that through all of those key parts, the parts of ideation and looking at problem solution, it's all time. There's no real money that needs to be invested right now. It's all just your time. And then we get into the next phase where we would take the client next would be in market, now avatar development, right? Once again, we talked about this in one of our recent podcasts we just did, looking and making sure who's our end user, or who's the buyer who might not be the end user, right? Like, if the person buying isn't actually the person it's for, but who's the buyer that we're trying to sell to. Again, can be all done free with SBA support, free of charge. Like these programs are out there to help you with these steps. So you don't have to go pay $100 an hour consultant to know what you're talking about.
Or just AI.
Or just AI. Yeah, AI is a great tool. And I think going back to those tools, using AI to say, okay, help me, who is the primary customer for this? It would give you a great answer. Every time I've used it for something like that, I found like, okay, it's very helpful.
And if it's wrong, at least it gets you on the track. Because you can easily tell when it's wrong. It's just like, but your ideas, like a lot of times I will build something out with AI and figure out, okay, well, this is not what I want. Yes. But while I've been figuring out why I don't like what AI did, I figured out what I want.
Right. You know what the key with AI is? It's, I say this because when I teach at UConn, I know my students are going to leverage that. I know they're leveraging AI to help themselves on the side. I get it. But I truly believe there's the AI triangle, right? So in the triangle, the top of the triangle is what AI puts out, okay? But at the bottom is the processing, and then the other piece of the triangle is the knowledge base to ask the right questions.
Right, it's the prompting,
yes.
we call it.
And so where people like, we're not teaching our people how to think. We're not teaching. I disagree. I think we should embrace AI more, and there should be more college courses on this in teaching around how you ask the right questions, because teaching to ask the right questions is a phenomenal life skill.
Right.
And if you took myself and one of my students and said, you can use all the AI tools you want, here's the problem, I'm going to get a better answer. I know I will, because I'm going to ask more wise questions. So part of the process here is as we, as you're going forward with this $0 startup, getting a consultant involved with you, even if together you're using AI, you're going to now ask much better questions, because the knowledge base of the business consultant will know to say, hey, ask this. Hey, ask this. Hey, ask this. So the AI is a great tool. It's an even better tool if you use the triad, right? So you, a consultant, and AI together, like collaborating on trying to get an answer.
Is there a medium where it's like, just don't get bogged down in this perfect, because if you can't get to SBA for whatever reason, at least you've got AI. I mean, it's like there's no reason to let it stop you.
Right. So you're 100% right, and you're better off using it than not using it in the decision process. But yeah, I'm going to lean on being a fan of those resources are there, they're free, and they can kind of get to this point. But now we get to the trickiest one of all, which is around.
I'm actually interested how you're going to get to this one.
Yeah, around this time
I didn't think this is what we were going to talk about. Go ahead.
No, well, around this time we start talking about operations.
Right.
And when you have a landscape company, here is where the dollars start coming in. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to start minimally, right, I need what? I
need a lawnmower. I need a trimmer. I need those two things right away for sure. And then probably some loppers and, whatever, seaters. I guess I don't need seating if I got a seating guy, but those are the things I need.
All right, so get me to...
But I would think that, there's probably a lot of... I'm thinking landscapers, and I'm thinking about, especially your guys, there's probably a lot of people who just start off with a lawnmower and a trimmer.
They still cost money.
Right, but...
And we're at the $0 startup. Yeah. So get me to the $0 startup of the landscape.
I'm getting it from mom and dad. Not the money, I'm getting the equipment. I'm going to use the equipment from grandpa or grandma or whomever.
Maybe we're getting used equipment. Well, what about this model, right? What about a model where you are dirt cheap? Like we come out and we do your lawn for $15, $20, like, really undercutting what people are charging right now. I have a decent size yard, not massive, decent size. I think I'm paying like $80 a cut. So if somebody came in at $20, $30, right? How many people that get landscaper services still own a lawnmower? That number is very high.
Yeah.
I have a tractor.
The family that's just out on the weekends and they're solving the time problem.
The $0 startup is I charge very low. I use your equipment.
Right.
I come out, I start your lawnmower, right? Like, and it keeps your cost down, but I use your equipment. Mm-hmm. I can walk there. Right. I don't even need gas in the car. So part of the process I want to show here is, and we had Danny Warshay on recently, and I know I'm dominating this conversation. I apologize.
Apologize.
Next podcast is going to be all Patrick.
No, let me just, I remember
with Patrick all the time.
I hate seeing myself. I hate editing myself. It's just the Brian show.
Shut up. Is that a medium shirt you're wearing?
That's a freaking extra large.
Oh, Jesus. Good stuff. Anyways, so part of the process here that we kind of walk through is that we look in the consultant world, we look at problems as opportunities, right? And if we just change the framework of how we can get this off the ground, I could get someone to, because that was going to be the big one, right? The operations where I know, like in my mind as I'm going, and we didn't prep this. We prepped the concept, but we didn't prep how we were going to get here. Yep. So as we're going through this in my mind, I'm like, all right, I know where I got to get and how we're going to get there. How are we going to get there?
I'm also wondering just from a pure like logic perspective, like if I've decided I'm going to start a landscaping business,
mm-hmm.
like that's in my mind. That's my decision of what type of business I want to start.
Yep.
I probably already have the lawnmower and the equipment.
Maybe.
I'm probably not starting from zero.
Maybe. But my point is, almost with everything we can get there.
You're talking about being creative.
Yeah, we can get there.
Yeah.
If you're willing to, if you're willing to go through those steps. So, and then the rest is once we know how we're going to operate, right? We put a financial structure around that operation. We're still at $0, just time. We can go to marketing. Well, can we market for no dollars? Absolutely.
Canva, there's no reason we even need Canva.
We could.
We have our phone.
Yeah.
And we have social media.
Yeah.
And like generally speaking.
But if we wanted to
run a
design
business
some flyers,
yeah.
we could do it for free on Canva. We could market on social media. We could market through email. We could let all our neighbors know, here's what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. And then we execute. And we go and deliver on all the things we just talked about. And so.
And I think some people, because we've had this conversation before, I think we've had this question before. It's like, because I think some people when they get locked up into I'm starting a business, is almost no businesses start off with the corporation and the bank account, right? Most businesses start off with just, you make money first, and then you use that money to incorporate and start the bank account. Like, you don't usually do that
Or
first.
you make money first and you go out to dinner and then you just keep doing that cycle. And
and then you get caught by the IRS. The IRS is like, hey, and he's like, all right, I got to incorporate and I got to do all that stuff.
The man gets you. The man gets you. So we get to all that part, right? We get through that and we're left with, we're at the end and $0. And this is an awesome exercise for anyone. Like come in the door and say, this is what I want to do. Put them through the exercise of, all right, get me to the end deliverable at $0. Because what it's going to naturally do, it's going to break their mindset of the typical things they think they need that they have to have. And at any point in time, if you can get someone in the door at lower, any decrease in total cost, that's a win. It's a complete win. So it just takes a mindset shift. And it gets them to realize that the way we're used to seeing this thing delivered isn't necessarily the way it has to be delivered. And great companies were formed on this concept. Think about DoorDash. DoorDash was formed on the mindset of, I'm going to deliver A, B, and C without owning any restaurants, owning the delivery trucks, owning the employees. We're going to go full commission based and create a platform.
And a shit ton of venture capital.
Yes. Yes. For the tech part. Yes.
Well, also, how do we get market share?
For the tech part. Yes. And yeah, I get it. But my point of the matter is that
go through the exercise.
Yeah, because the concept took what was currently existing and just like flipped it on its head and said, hey, why does every restaurant need their own delivery drivers when a lot of times they're just sitting around, right? And so $0 startup, that's the way to go. Even if you don't end up there, go through the exercise of trying to create it with your entry point. Seeing, can I get here? And if you do that, you're just going to find all these cool little creative ways that you'll probably utilize as part of your normal startup, even if you get $100,000 to do it, right? You'll probably integrate some of these things as cost-saving measures or ways to kind of streamline what you're doing.
Don't spend money until you start making money.
Yeah. The opposite of scared money, don't make no money.
Mm-hmm. Don't spend money until you start making money.
The rise of the $0. I envision the thumbnail for this podcast, Patrick, being the Galactic Empire, the rise of the $0 startup. Okay, so as you're putting that together, just think about that.
The rise of the hire a graphic designer.
Good stuff. You don't need capital. You need courage, creativity, and Canva. I'm Brian LaFauci.
Patrick Marino.
Until next time.
Thank you.